Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the AfterShock Happy Hour and Live Sale. I'm your host and the communication specialist here at AfterShock Comics, RuthAnn Thompson. I'm already seeing all you awesome folks in the chat. Lady Grayson, everybody from Twitch, from YouTube, and from our Facebook. Welcome, welcome. We have an awesome show for you. We're going to have the unstoppable Mike Rooth here again. I can't wait to talk to him. But we're going to start off with our ambassador of the month, Clay. Hello, Clay. How are you?
Hey, Ruth Ann, I'm doing great.
I am so glad you could join us. Congratulations for being our ambassador of the month.
Thank you very much.
And tell people a little bit about like how you became an ambassador and what brought you to AfterShock as a fan.
Well, when I first started getting into reading independence, I read a few AfterShock titles, but I didn't really notice the brand AfterShock until Dark Red came out. And Dark Red made me really notice AfterShock. I started looking into their stuff. Became a big fan just because of the fact that they overlap all different type of genres and all different type of concepts. And I saw the social media posts about the ambassador program when it first started, and here I am.
Yes, and Clay has been with us since the beginning, and he's been just incredible, doing incredible work. So, Clay, tell us a little bit about the area you cover and the shops that you visit every month.
I'm in Connecticut. I have 8 shops. It's Matt's Sports Cards and Comics in Enfield, A Hero's Legacy in Manchester, Boom Tube Comics in Southington, Richie's Comic Cabana in Waterbury, Legends of Superheroes in Oakville, DJ's Cards and Comics in North Haven, and Alternate Universe in Milford and New.
So great. So what is your favorite part about being an ambassador so far?
Honestly, I really like hosting the tables and meeting people and just talking with the fans or people that don't know about AfterShock. I actually bring the iPad and I scroll through all the different series on the website, and stuff always pops out at people that I could talk about half of the different concepts, but without it being there in front of them, you never know what's going to grab somebody. So it's cool to see they actually like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's interesting, or oh, I got it, and they go over the counter and they'll end up ordering a trade, and it's cool.
Right, it's a great feeling when you can match a person to an incredible story and you just know they're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a lot of fans here in the chat. We have C-list E-Man saying hi, Paul Dunn, and Paul says that you need to work the booth at New York Comic Con, so we'll have to work that out.
It would be awesome.
And so for you, since you're an AfterShock ambassador, you get the latest comic books before anybody else. What have been your top 3 picks for this month?
Bunny Mask, obviously, because it's just a classic horror story. We Live has been on track to still be awesome. And I just read the preview for Astronaut Down, and that's
Right.
If people didn't pre-order it, they should get to the shop early when it releases, because that's a really, really cool story so far. Like, that first issue was awesome.
Yeah, I'm very stoked for that one as well. So for anybody watching this, where can they follow you on social media?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook under Clay Nepenthes. I don't have a Twitter. I never could understand it, but between Instagram and Facebook, that's where I do most of my sharing and my posting.
Yeah, well, it looks like you have somebody local to you. So Brian says from Facebook says, I'm near Worcester, Massachusetts. So a tad out of your area, but I love to hit up an event if you ever announce them.
Follow me on social media. I always post weeks in advance.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, and we have some people who are also adding in. C-list E-Man says we live for him. F8 Photo is giving a shout out to Bunny Mask as well. And C-list E-Man Land of Living Gods, also excellent choice. So Clay, thank you again so much for joining us, and great work being our ambassador of the month. And looking forward to chatting with you soon at work tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
All right, and for all those watching, stick around because we're going to have this stupidly talented Mike Rooth to talk to. So right after this very quick break. Welcome back, everybody, to the happy hour and soon to be live sale. But it is now time to have the incomparable Mike Rooth back on. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am so good. I'm so excited to have you back on. You're one of my
Oh,
favorite guests of all time, and
oh,
your
come
work
on.
on all of our happy hour variants is just rude how talented and how much
Oh,
fun it is. So
oh,
so excited to have you here. And obviously everybody in chat, please ask us any questions as we're going along. We'll definitely bring them into the conversation. So tell us a little bit about like what you've been working on. The last time we had you on, we did the whole history of Mike Rooth and how you became an artist and all that kind of stuff. And if anybody on here has not been following him on Instagram, you have to, because he does this thing where he goes for walks or he just takes random stuff and then without sketching anything out, he just dips it in ink and does this just stupid amazing artwork and films. It's rude. I'm telling you, it's rude. And
well,
JD Smith says, raise the Rooth. So everybody's excited to have you on here. Oh, and also, of course, cheers to you. Happy hour.
Thanks so much for having me. You're far too kind, but I really appreciate all that. No, honestly, this has been such a fun gig. I love the happy hour stuff. It's a nice regular spot to have. I feel very lucky to have this position, to be able to, to work on these cool projects and to get an early look at the script and the artwork, and to really kind of feel like, I want to try to capture the spirit of that. And it's actually today I'm actually working on a happy hour for something that's coming out in July, and one of the creators on the project is a friend of mine. So I was actually able to contact him directly and get some ideas flowing. So I think I got something really creepy and cool coming in July. I don't want to say what it is yet in case it hasn't been announced, but
no, it has been announced. I can promise you it's been announced. Yeah, if it's what I think it is and it's coming out in July, we always announce like 4 months out. So
gotcha. Okay, certain Canadian creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Initials.
Say it.
I feel like I'm gonna get the title wrong now. I'm on the spot. It's Ed Brisson's new book. It's There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd. Is that the name of it?
Awesome. Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed the script, and the artwork's just incredible. So I've got something kind of super creepy in mind for that. So maybe pushing the limits a little bit for me, even for creepiness this time. So we'll see.
I can't wait. So yes, everybody make sure that you join for our July happy hour, because it's gonna be awesome. Mm-hmm. So of all the happy hour variants that you've done so far, which has been your favorite?
Oh, that's tough. They've all been so much fun. I really love that first bunny mask one that I did. I thought that was a blast. And that book was, that was crazy. The heat around that book, that was just exciting, to have something blow up like that. That was pretty cool. And the We Live ones have been very fun. The big double, I got the original here, actually.
Oh, yes. Show us the original.
Big behemoth. Yeah.
That
was the connecting cover for White and Black, so that was pretty cool, and I just had to do it all as one big piece.
Yeah. Well, since you have that piece right in front of us, talk us through kind of your process when it comes to these variants. Like, and I know there's some back and forth with obviously the AfterShock crew and that kind of stuff, but like for anybody who's aspiring to do cover art and that sort of thing, like talk us through the process of kind of how that all comes to be.
Well, for me, I find most of my work, it tends to be figure driven. So like I always try to get a really cool, exciting, dynamic kind of interaction with figures, or even if it's just one strong figure, like a really interesting angle or something like that, and play with perspective. But really for something like We Live that had so many interesting, colorful characters and the monsters, that was one where I actually had a totally different idea that didn't get rejected, but they decided to go with a connecting cover instead of just a singular issue. I had this other idea with them fighting a monster and then flipping it upside down for the black and coloring it differently, so it would be two covers but the same, essentially the same artwork. We decided to go in a different direction instead. It's just one of those things that happens during the process sometimes. You try to cram so much onto one cover, you think, well, why not make it two covers, and spread it out a little bit. But my process is really just figuring out what the stress point of the image is. Like, what's the thing that's going to have people kind of looking or wondering, like maybe it's the scale of the monster, or maybe it's just the, who's about to land that first punch, or whatever, whatever the dynamic is of the cover. So that's where it starts for me. And then, with the AfterShock stuff, the characters are so much fun. There's always such interesting, I mean, especially the We Live stuff, the Miranda brothers, the creations in that are just like, I had to just stop and think about what I was looking at sometimes. Like, it was just breathtaking, some of the work that those guys put together. So yeah, that's a real treat being able to work with characters like that and properties like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's pretty blown away by that cover. So like F8 Photo on Twitch, and then Forrest Bates on Facebook. And so guys, we're actually selling that, both the black and the white, so you can actually put it together yourself during the live sale at like one of the cheapest prices that we've ever done it. So make sure you stick around if you guys really like the cover. It's amazing.
That was a
So
lot of fun.
yeah. Okay, so for the love of comics on YouTube says, "Hey all, it's Clay. I forgot to mention my all-time favorite Aftershock title, Animosity, that Mike did a variant for with a pelican and a mouthful of skulls."
Oh yeah,
I think I missed this cover. Tell us about this cover.
that was Animosity: The Rise, issue
Right.
1. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had just started working with Stefan, actually. I did a variant cover for a retailer here in Canada for issue 1 of Animosity, which was so much fun. I wish I had the original of that still, because that was one of my favorite pieces. I had that one, and I had, I think I did another issue, the Harambe issue 3. And then, yeah, The Rise came out, and I wanted to do a pelican. And of course, Stefan being in Florida was like, "Oh yeah, you got to do a pelican." And, and yeah, I just thought the pelican bag stuffed with skulls made these really interesting shadows and impressions. I'm not sure if Stefan's got one handy. I don't even know. That might be on my old computer. That was done in 2016 or so, 2017, I think. So yeah, it's I'm not sure if I have one.
Oh yeah, so Stefan just said he's gonna find it and put it up so everybody can see it, because I want to see it, for crying out loud. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, but thank you, Clay. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That was a fun one for sure. That was I've enjoyed all those Animosity covers. They were so much fun. And you know, a really cool thing happened with that as well. I was able to connect with Marguerite Bennett on one of the instances where I did a cover for issue 4, I think it was. And I just kind of sent her an email like, "Hey, what would you like to see for a cover? Do you have an idea?" Because when I, as an illustrator who is basically like an art robot that works for whoever, when I have a chance to actually connect with a creator who's actually responsible for the story, the artwork, the whole thing, I want to feel like I'm playing a bigger part than just doing a cover for a book. So when I can, I like to reach out to the creator and actually get direct feedback and see what they'd like to see. Like, there's so many beautiful covers come out for these books, but you know, there's always that one idea that maybe didn't get used, or that one that the writer wanted to see happen and visualize. So I was able to do that today with Ed. Actually, we jammed out a couple of ideas, which was fun. But yeah, I was able to talk to Marguerite Bennett about doing an Aftershock or an Animosity cover at the time, and it was a really cool experience just to have a little bit of feedback with the actual creators. So I live for stuff like that, because otherwise I'm just an art machine that just makes art for, you know, takes the order and processes the order onto the page and moves on, you know.
Well, I feel like you're giving yourself a disservice, because like your covers are so eye-catching, and for everybody who reads comic books, you know, like when you're kind of in a comic book shop and you're not sure and you kind of want to pick up something new, the first thing that grabs you is the cover, and then like obviously then the title, and then you start flipping through it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's already on the screen, but I saw it shared in one of our chats. The variant is amazing. Now I'm gonna have to find that somewhere. Oh, and on Facebook, Joshua Hand says Rooth. So I don't know if that's somebody you know.
Hey, Joshua. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He's a big supporter of a lot of the different projects I work on. So yeah, he's an awesome guy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool.
a question that I have, and again, reminder to everybody watching, if you have any questions for Mike, please put them in the chat and we'll ask them right here and now. So I just can't get enough of you when you just take a random object, like what was it? The latest was like a negative COVID test that you just like took an ink and then just like went nuts with. When you do that, like how, because you don't even sketch. Like it's just like mind blowing. So do you ever like, I have so many questions. So like, do you ever like get started and you're like, nope, and like start over? Or once you start, are you committed? Do you have the image in your head, or do you like, how does that work?
So yeah, once I find the object, I have no idea until I dip it in the ink what it's going to do. So I may start with an impression or an idea of a character. I mean, usually it's Swamp Thing. I'm not going to lie. Anyone who knows me knows I'm probably going to draw either a Swamp Thing or a Ben Grimm. It's going to be one of those two guys first. Maybe a Conan is going to come in on a third, you know. But whatever marks I end up making with those different objects, they will have a character of their own that will call to me in a certain way. So in the case of this is actually a Swamp Thing action figure, but it came with this accessory, which is like a kind of a it's just like a weird spear hand or something
Claw
like
thing,
that.
yeah.
And the tip is dipped in ink because I did a drawing of Swamp Thing with it just to see what I could do. And it's a really cool, like, I don't know if it's a piece of plastic or resin, but it's got all these great little textures on it. And I thought for sure it was going to be a beast of a thing to work with and give me all kinds of variety. But the reality was I was really working from the tip of it because that was basically the only thing that would hold any ink. So, you know, you start out with these grand ambitions about what the object is going to do. And then you go, oh, it actually is pretty limited, like an action figure sword or you know, some kind of a small accessory like that. Those are really cool, fun things to work with, but they don't very often translate into a great drawing tool. So something like a twig or a branch or you know, an acorn, they just have they do a thing that only they can do. And I don't know what that is yet. So it's one of those things that makes art kind of exciting again. Because when you've been doing this as long as I have, there's days when even though you're living your dream and you're doing the thing that you love most in the life, sometimes it just doesn't come that easy. Sometimes it's just work. And so it's nice to kind of stop and put the tools down, put the fancy equipment away, put the iPad away, and pick up a branch and some mud and see what kind of a mark you can make on a brick wall. And I don't know. You know what I mean?
You wonder why I love having you as a guest. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Maybe it's like an old primal calling or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely something I have to do once in a while. And it'll just be something that occurs to me. I'll just be like, oh, this is interesting. Let's draw with this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And, you know, see what comes out of it. So
yeah,
no, it's a good experience. I recommend everyone try it. It's also a great leveler. If you have no drawing ability at all, then you have nothing to lose by taking a branch and dipping it in paint and making some marks. You're just going to make something, right? And if you have some kind of an idea of what that something might be or what you're attempting to make, something will appear that might surprise you. And you got to live for the surprises, you know?
Yeah. We're getting so much great questions and comments. I'll get to them in a second, but real quick question. Speaking on like being surprised, have you ever like dipped and like had the ink ready and started drawing and be completely surprised like what comes out of it and what was the story behind that? Like, were you planning on doing a Swamp Thing and all of a sudden it turned into like Wicked Witch of the West? I don't know. Like
that happens a lot. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you'll have an image that's just crystal clear in your head and you sit down to make it happen on the page and it just goes off in directions you're not expecting. I don't know if I have it handy, but I have somewhere around here a tiny old spare brake light from my dad's old minivan, and I used that to do a drawing one day. And the reason I used it and dipped it in ink was because I could hold it in my hand. It wasn't heavy. It had weird kind of lines. I can't find it, but it had weird little lines sawed, like machined lines and grooves in it. So when I dipped it in ink, I was getting these really mechanical looking lines. So I might have a copy here. I drew an alien, like from the Alien movies, with this brake light. And I thought it was one of the greatest drawings of all time I had ever done. And there is something that can only be done by using this weird machined piece of plastic. And that was just me dipping it and dragging it around. I made a big swipe that kind of reminded me of the smooth dome top of one of these aliens. And then I just let it go from there. And I just let it to tell me what it wanted to be. And then there's this kind of weird skeleton warrior dude that kind of came out of the next experiment with the same tool. And eventually the tool just becomes kind of, the corners kind of soften too much. They become too worn down from banging it on the paper and smashing it, filling the gaps with ink. So it becomes kind of useless, but at least I was able to produce a few cool pieces of artwork before it became trash anyway, right? So it's one of those kind of things that, I don't know.
I'm just in shock. It's almost makes me angry how like just how God, it's so good. There's been so many great comments. So it already like scrolled past, but FA Photo wanted to mention the fact that like the Lion the Eagle cover that you did like reinvigorated his fear of snakes. And now I'm very curious. Justin Steves is asking about when do we get to see the two-handed sketches?
Oh yes, I
Tell
was
me about those.
I might be able to send a video to Stefan, which we could share. It's not a very good one. I was doing this experiment where I thought, I wonder if I can. Let me see if I can send it to him here. Hang
Yeah.
on.
I mean, is it on your Instagram and all that kind of stuff? Can
I didn't
people?
post it yet, no, but let me see if I can post it here. I didn't post it because I wasn't like 100% with it. But basically, what it is, it's me drawing with both of my hands at the same time, trying to do like a mirrored kind of thing. Hold on, I'm going to send it to him right now.
Yeah. And then and also Daniel Harrell says, because he was replying to Justin Steve, says, next up, he's going to draw Deadpool with his feet. So challenge on. Challenge
You know what?
on.
You never know. You never know. I'm going to send these two to Stefan and we'll see what happens. I got
Yeah.
2 videos here that I think are all right. But you know what? It's just one of those things where I saw there's an artist, Carl Kopinski, who has done this artwork on Instagram. And we were having a debate during this other art thing that I was doing the other day. Where we were like, is he really drawing? Is he really perfectly ambidextrous? Or is there something about drawing at the same time and doing mirrored movements with your hands that the same as doing anything two-handed? So I tried it out. And yeah.
How did it go? Tell us, like, wow.
There's a switch that happens in your brain. So you start out at the same spot, the same 2 pencils. Like I used 2 black pencil crayons. And I just started making a head shape and just building the structure of a drawing. And I just tried to keep my hands mirroring each other the whole time. So it really only works when you're doing a straight on shot. So I'm hoping that these will send through to Stefan. I'm not sure if he got them or not, but if he did, they're kind of neat. Maybe they'll show them on screen.
Oh yeah, if we could even use it for our commercial breaks if that works out better. But yeah, that's so cool.
Sure. Yeah, it's just fun. It's something different. Again, just trying to find the little surprises to keep things interesting. And you never know, it can end up being another tool in the, in the tool bag, so to speak, when it comes to making art. So.
And I just love the fact that you're always challenging yourself. Like that's what makes me frustrated. That you're like, oh, I'm just an art machine. Shut your mouth. You're incredible. Oh, there's a great question from Dalton Copeman on Facebook. It says, was the Deadpool Akira homage cover by you a commission?
It was, yeah. That was a fellow, believe it or not, the guy who commissioned that passed away shortly after. I only knew him on Facebook, but he had this wonderful collection of stuff. And yeah, he had this brilliant idea to do that homage to that famous Akira poster where he's walking towards the motorcycle. And I did a Deadpool version of that. Yeah, that was a commission, in fact. Yeah. Yeah, that was a sad story. I did that one in 2008. It was a really nice piece. But yeah, it was just one of those sad endings kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But thank you, Dalton. Yeah, that was a cool old sad memory you brought up for me.
Yeah, thanks. Just let us tear up real quick. Wait, hold on. That's what alcohol's for. Hold on.
Hold on, I got some whiskey to solve that. Never mind.
Let me repress those emotions. So speaking of commissions and all that, you go to conventions all the time. What is your next convention?
So I recently had to cancel Calgary, which I was looking forward to for months and months and months, just the traveling logistics kind of thing. But my next show is actually kind of a smaller show, but I'm really excited about it. It's in Deep River, Ontario, which is about 8 hours drive from here, 6 hours drive from here. And it's going to be fun. It's the Deep River Geek Fest, and I'll be there with my friends from Big Country Comics and my friends from Sketchelmania and some of the other little art groups that I'm a part of. And it should be a fun weekend. And then after that, my next one might be Montreal Comic-Con in July, which is an astonishingly fun show. And then my big one, of course, is going to be in the summertime at Fan Expo Canada. But I'd love to get to some shows stateside. I'm wondering about C2E2 still. I'm still sort of debating on that. I'd love to be there because it's been years since I've been to C2E2, and it's just my favorite artist alley in the universe.
Hey, just be at the AfterShock booth.
Yeah. I would live there for sure. It would be fine. Yeah, you wouldn't even know I was there.
Yeah, right. Oh, and Dalton does apologize. He did not. He put a little sad face.
Buddy.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding with you. It's all good. It's all good, man.
And Paul Dunn is requesting that you do a New York Comic-Con. I would absolutely love to have you there as well.
It's been years for that one too. I'd love to go back. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to travel. I'm not that far away. It's only about a 10-hour drive to Chicago, so it's not too bad. It's manageable. And my wife and I would love to go back. It's been years. So yeah, hopefully. But New York, oh man, New York's just a whole other creature. And it's got the same kind of level of awesome as C2E2. There's just something about the C2E2 Artist Alley that just,
it's
whether I have
magical.
a good show or a bad show, I see literally all my friends there and I have an amazing weekend and I don't even care. There's never a bad show, really. I'm just talking in terms of pure economics. If it doesn't end up being a big, crazy seller weekend, I've still spent the weekend in Chicago with beautiful people, and it's just an awesome thing. So I can't wait to get there.
And it looks like both Clay and Paul Dunn are requesting you for Terrificon.
Where's that one?
Connecticut.
Ooh, never been there. That would be one to scratch off the list. You know what? We'll see what the next couple months bring for sure. I've got kind of a quieter schedule in the summertime just because I want to spend some time at the beach, floating around like a sea monster in the lake, and just trying to be like a swamp man for the summer if I can.
Yeah, I was just about to say your own little swamp thing, just
as much as I can, yeah. And then get out of the sun for a while and sit and draw in the shade, and then go float around in the lake again like a monster. I live for it, but I've only got like maybe 1 or 2 of those days a month, but trying to keep some weekends free for that opportunity anyway. So
yeah. And so if people can't get some sketches from you at conventions, you actually have a weekly show that had a very big show just this last weekend. So tell everybody about it, where they can follow it, and then tell them big news about your last Ronin drawing that just happened.
That was incredible. So we had Things Are Getting Sketchy is a show that we do weekly or bi-weekly with Stefan and the guys from Big Country Comics and some friends of mine. We get together and draw and auction the artwork off. And it was something that really got us through the tougher parts of the pandemic. And we had a Last Ronin theme to kind of celebrate the release of the final issue of Last Ronin, which has been months and months and months delayed. So it's been a really long journey because I've been lucky enough to do a cover for issue 1 and also one for issue 4 and 2 for issue 5. So I've been really lucky to have my one finger kind of poking into that project during the entire run. But it ended issue 5 last week, and it was just an awesome ending. And we wanted to do a little celebration and do some drawings. And I did this drawing of the Shredder fighting the Last Ronin, a really big piece of paper, and it sold for astronomical money that I've never seen at an auction before.
Over $1,500.
It blew my mind. I've never had anything go anywhere near that before. So that was just, I always say the Ninja Turtles bring their own special kind of fandom, and they bring their own sauce to the barbecue, so to speak. There's really sort of a thing that happens with the Turtles that's different than it's those big franchises, right? The Turtles, the Transformers, things like that. But when you do like a night that's focused on creating artwork around that subject, I mean, you've got this fan base that stretches 30 years now.
Yeah, you have 3 generations almost of fans, and obviously my favorite is us first generation fans of it, but just the deep love for it. And it's one of those IPs that has grown with the fan base, all the different stuff. And but still goes back to these darker, come on, the Last Ronin, that, God, your cover is so incredible. Just badass and dark. It's so good. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's a great story. It's a lot of fun. And it was cool to see the original creators come together to make that story happen and kind of tell that final turtle story. Which, of course, like any great epic ending always has a little bit of a what if there was a tomorrow, or see you next time, or a to be continued kind of vibe to it at the end. So you never know. But it was great fun to be a part of. The character so much fun to draw, and the fandom around the character is just bananas. I've never seen anything like it. It's like the We Live thing. It's just this ravenous, crazy collector fan thing that happens. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and one more time for everybody who's watching, where can they watch this stream? When do they watch it? All that kind of stuff. Plug it away.
The show is called Things Are Getting Sketchy, and it's on, I believe it's on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We run it. There's a Things Are Getting Sketchy Facebook page. There's also an Instagram page, and I think a Twitter account probably too. I usually share the events that are happening, whether I'm on them or not, but they happen every week or kind of every other week. I think into the summertime, we're going every other week now to give people more weekends free. It's good fun. It's Saturday night at 7 Eastern until about 10 o'clock, and usually there's 2 or 3 artists on there, and we just pick a subject and draw around the subject, and the artwork goes up for auction, and we just kind of tell stories about being illustrators and being comic book people, and it's good fun. I enjoy it. It's a nice release every couple weeks or every week, for sure.
Yeah. It's so great. So I don't know if you know this. So we're doing a live sale after this, but we're doing all of your stuff, basically, like all of your happy hour specials,
very
all that kind of
cool.
stuff, but including the new #1 of Bunny Mask for the volume 2. Tell us a little bit about, like, because like, you're a Bunny Mask fan, I'm a Bunny Mask fan,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit of the inspiration behind this cover, and like what your takeaways from Bunny Mask is so far.
Yeah, I love the story. It's and it's crazy because when I did this cover, I had missed the last few issues of the first run of Bunny Mask. So when I was sent a reference folder from AfterShock to do my work, they had the whole first volume in there. So I was able to sit and finally read it. And it's such a great story. And I love the character, but it's like one of those things. She's such a great design and such a great premise that you can kind of do anything creepy and crawly, and like my first cover. So I wanted to do something that was maybe a little bit different, maybe closer up. But I actually kind of struggled with this cover. I didn't have. There's so many directions you can go with a story like this. So many great characters, but she's got to be on the cover somewhere. So I decided to focus on her closely, and there's a great scene in the little 6-page preview that I was sent for reference that where there's a lady in the hospital. I don't want to spoil it because it's out. I guess it's out this week. Is it out?
Yeah, it just came out yesterday.
Yeah, it just came out. Right, of course. Yeah. So
you can spoil a little.
Yeah. There's this great scene where she uses her powers to remove an illness from somebody, and just to see it physically in her hand, and the whole exchange around that. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this character yet. I just know that I like her, and I don't know. I'm all about justice, and however it's dealt is. Sometimes I don't want to stand in the way of how that justice is dealt, because this is comic books after all. But to have a horror story that also feels a little bit like a Batman comic, in that way that it's got this kind of this literally mysterious character with
Right.
the white eyes and in the shadows and all that. It's wonderful. But I love the premise, and I don't know if anyone noticed, because it's kind of, I didn't want to hit anyone over the head with a frying pan with this, but the gore between her fingers and
oh my God, I can't believe I only just noticed it.
I'm not sure if it came through in the color quite as clearly, but yeah, I wanted her to be spelling that message out in the gore. But I wanted to keep it subtle, because I'm not a lettersmith at all. I'm no Charles Pritchett. I can't work words with fonts and all that kind of mumbo jumbo at all. But yeah, I wanted to have some fun with that.
Oh my God, I can't believe I've been looking at this cover. Oh my God, it's so good. And Forrest Bates, I agree, on Facebook, he said, "Isn't everyone a Bunny Mask fan?" I don't know, but I am just so good. And Creed says, "Nice addition, Mike." Like, that's just, that's so good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
One of the things I love about Bunny Mask is, like, yeah, she's kind of for justice, but my God, she's so terrifying. She speaks in this very, like, lyrical, poetic way. And one of my favorite lines from her is from the first volume, when she's talking to a kid, and like after holding their teeth and like telling them like their whole future and everything like that. It's just like, "You love me. I'm great with kids." And walks away. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're terrifying.
There's pieces of a story coming out in the dialogue that I just love the way she talks. I love the way that's done. Yeah, it's a really different book. That first issue that I was sent to do the cover for the first run, volume 1. When I read that first issue, that opening page, with the chisel and the hammer, and I was like, what? And the artwork is sensational. I mean, that guy is a genius.
Andrea Muti, how do you make watercolors so terrifying? Like, it's ridiculous. And also, I don't know if you know this, so like when we interviewed him for a happy hour a little while back, he does this thing that he doesn't read the script past the page that he's doing the art for.
Wow.
So like, especially when he was doing Maniac of New York, that's why the tension is so palpable in the artwork, because he doesn't even know what's going to happen next.
I love it. That's brilliant. That's incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love
See,
it.
normally for me, I have to cherry pick what I want to handle first, what I want to handle at different times when I get a whole script sent to me for interiors, because there's some stuff that's like, I don't want to spend my weekend drawing that. I want to draw all these scenes, and but you got to save some dessert for yourself at the end. You got to get through the tough pages and save some nice splash pages and things like that for dessert if I'm laying it all out and how I want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's crazy to hear. I don't think I caught that part. That's brilliant. I should have to give that a try sometime.
Right? Yeah. It's good stuff. So we're obviously going to do the sale right after this. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff, but before that, because like especially on Instagram, everybody has a fight. Do you have a TikTok? You should do a TikTok, by the way. Do a TikTok. Do it, please. But yeah, so where can everybody follow you on social media?
So I am called Uncouth Ruth on both Twitter and Instagram. I pretty much do everything kind of from Instagram and share it to Facebook or stuff like that. On Facebook, I'm just Mike Rooth. I think there's a caricature of me by my D&D caricature by Troy Little as my profile picture, so you'll recognize my face by that. But yeah, I'm usually pretty open to to follows and all that sort of thing. And I don't spend a lot of time online, but I try to share my stuff there. So Uncouth Ruth is the main place. I do have a shop. It's mikeruth.bigcartel.com, and that's all just like, it's got a bunch of t-shirts and D&D t-shirts and different things that I've done over the years, and piles and piles of original art that's sitting there now. My entire run of Dodge, the original pages are up there for sale and stuff. And so that's pretty much it. You'll be seeing a lot of me posting soon because I'll be doing all my Kickstarter fulfillment for the third issue of Dodge, which is my Werebear comic with Matt Nixon. So that's going to be a lot of that action happening daily on Instagram coming up. So
yeah, so follow him. Do it. It's so
yes.
I adore following your Instagram. It's so much fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and
thank you.
As always, I can't thank you enough for being on the show and doing these incredible variants for us for this happy hour. Like I said, we're about to do the live sale that's going to have all of the latest ones you've done at a fraction of the cost. So, and especially that Bunny Mask #1 of Volume 2 that you just described. I'm still so angry I didn't notice it's so good.
It's okay. It's okay. It got lost in the coloring. That's why I wanted to show the black and white, because I'm not sure if it got through. It's enough if you go digging for it there, you can find it. But
yeah.
Well, thank you very much for having me. That was so much fun, and it's always a pleasure.
Always. Now I want to play D&D with you as well, but we'll get to that later. So everybody, please stick around. We'll just take a very short little break, and then we'll get to this live sale so you can buy all this incredible work. And Ross DeVore also says, so awesome. I agree. So stick around, everybody, and thank you again, Mike.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we're back. Oh, I was waiting for a 3, 2, 1 from my producer, but no, we're just back. Hello, everybody. We are back way sooner than I anticipated. I'm your host, RuthAnn Thompson. It's time for the live sale, but we have a special surprise. We're actually going to have Mike Rooth here to talk through all this awesome stuff that we're going to be selling. So as usual, what we're going to do for the live sale is we're going to talk through each of the items very quickly. So that way you guys can just like jump in, add it to your cart, and then Mike, let's please talk through some of these amazing artwork, and then we can just do this. Yes, Paul Dunn, I know, I'm sorry. I did not know like, it's great because like the whole time Steph is like, we're back. Listen, I'm used to a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Rum is a hell of a drug. All right, so starting off, we already talked about the Bunny Mask Volume 2, Issue 1, Happy Hour exclusive, just for this show. And again, guys, this sale is only for the next 24 hours. So if anybody's watching this on repeat, there should be hopefully some stuff available. We only have, and then we have the Bunny Mask, the past Bunny Mask one as well. the Hollow Inside #1 happy hour exclusive. We have the Dark Red, where roads lead happy hour exclusive. So that's for you specifically, Clay. Speaking of Dark Red, that brought you into the AfterShock crew. We have Kaiju Score, Seal from the Gods, #1 happy hour exclusive. And the really famous Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning #1 that you did. We've been getting so many calls for this one. It's
Really?
amazing. And not only do we have it in the regular print, oh, guess what, kids? We have it in the metal cover as well.
Oh,
and if you haven't
fun.
seen our metal covers, your brain is going to be exploded from it. And speaking of F8 Photo being afraid of snakes, we have the Lion and the Eagle #1 happy hour exclusive available as well in this live sale. We also have the original We Live #1 happy hour exclusive CBCS 9.8 graded book.
Very cool.
Good stuff. And that is for 100. We only have 5 of those in stock. And then, as I mentioned before, we have the latest season of We Live Age of the Palladians. We have the #1 Black happy hour exclusive. So that first part of that incredible photo he showed. And then we have the We Live Age of the Palladians #1 White happy hour. So let's jump in and open up the store so you guys can add that all to your cart. And now, Mike, let's talk through some of these incredible covers.
Sure.
We just did the Buddy Mask happy hour exclusive of the Hollow Inside, which just it's incredible. And again, guys, we're only selling it for $10, and we only have 25 available. So like, get on that.
Wow.
Let's talk about the Bunny Mask, the first one of the original volume.
Yep.
Where, like, what was your thought process behind this? Like, how did this come to be?
I thought the caves were really creepy, and I really wanted to get that kind of put a couple of those caves and a couple of cave drawings in there, and to have the bunny mask, kind of crawling out of one. I just thought there was just so many opportunities for shadows and for some fun things to happen with that one. So yeah, that was just a fun one. I thought her character design was so cool. I loved the dress. I loved the collar. Everything about it was just a lot of fun, and it was one I had no ideas for, but I'm like, well, the story is so interesting and cool, and I don't know, I'm definitely going to draw this character. Sorry, I apologize for the motorcycles going
Oh,
by.
no worries.
It's a sunny day here in Canada, so it's all motorcycles, but yeah.
So for this, obviously, like, there hadn't been the first volume out. So what were your first thoughts about this title? Because were you able to even read the first issue before doing the artwork, or?
I think I was sent the script, and I was also sent the most of the finished pages. I think half of them were colored, half of them weren't yet, but I had the script so I could match up the script with the panels and kind of read it like at the same time. And so that was a really interesting way to do it, to see how he solved each of these problems that were presented in the descriptions for what he was supposed to draw. So that was pretty cool to see that process of it. Yeah, that was yeah, I don't know. Something about the character design just grabbed me, and I thought I have to put her on the cover for sure. And then when you get in and you see the caves, and I was like, just these great kind of frame up, that can happen with the teeth kind of coming up and stuff. It was yeah, it was all sitting right there. I just had to put the pieces together. Yeah,
I love how you just like make it, it's just so simple, like whatever. All right, and then we have Dark Red, Where Roads Lead, the happy hour exclusive of that one shock, after the first 2 volumes came out. So like, tell us a little bit about this cover, kind of your inspirations and your thoughts on the title itself.
So I enjoyed that. That was my first exposure to was that issue. So I hadn't read the first volume, but it was just an enjoyable read regardless. And I thought the character was interesting. I saw some of the covers from the first run, the first volume, and I thought, this kind of janitor character, and he's a vampire, and I don't know. I used to be a janitor, so I used to spend a lot of time staring at myself in the mop reflection, and that was the funny thing, because the guy's a vampire. I had this. I did the artwork. I did the rough sketch. I sent it off to to the team for approval, and then I thought, you just did a drawing where a vampire's reflection. That doesn't even make sense. You just broke all the rules of vampire. So then I had to go and do research about vampires and reflections. And I learned that, in fact, it only really counts with mirrors.
Yep.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty cool. So I was like, okay, I'm good. They can still see the reflection in the water because it has to do with the silver, I guess, and the silver content in the mirror is part of the thing. So that was a cool little bit that I learned about vampires. And
This makes me so happy on so many levels because I'm so aggressively nerdy when it comes to like actual origin stuff, but especially
Sure.
vampires. So I appreciate you and all that you are for making sure to like dive that deep. I swear, I don't know if everybody else heard that, but Stefan, our our producer, just said that vampires are the lamest of all supernatural creatures. I'm gonna fight him. It's official. All right, moving on before we get too belligerent. We have Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods. So this is the second volume of Kaiju Score as well, and this is the #1 Happy Hour exclusive. Tell us a little bit about your process with this and your thoughts on that title as well.
So that was a lot of fun. I knew this time I definitely wanted to draw more monsters because the first time I had done a variant cover, I believe, for Big Country Comics for the Kaiju Score, the first volume, and I have it's a super close up of a monster's eyeball, kind of in the window behind the character, and he's got sunglasses on that are reflecting the scared police, and he's holding a gun to the police. It's kind of this layered thing. But anyway, for this one, I definitely wanted to draw the monsters, and I was so grateful that this first volume actually shows those great illustrations when they were talking about the history of the kaijus, and they were just these really simple, like almost board game style images of what the monsters look like. So it left lots of room for me to interpret what they look like, and I wanted to get at least their faces in there. And I did this weird little sketch, and I'm not sure I have it handy here. I probably don't. I did this weird little sketch, and it just like with a blue marker and a red marker, and what was left in between the two monster faces staring at each other was a rough shape of a woman. And I thought, I'm going to use that as the inspiration for this cover, this weird little doodle on some napkin somewhere around here in this mess. But yeah, it's it was inspired by a little weird sketch, and it turned into a really fun piece. I really enjoyed that one, and I loved the story. And that was another opportunity where I got to read the entire first volume in the reference pack that I was sent, because I had missed the last couple issues of the first run as well. Really love that story. Really, really cool.
Yeah. And now let's talk about the Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning #1 cover, because this is our most requested cover. And Creed, thank you for your question about the print run for the Maniac of New York metal cover. So if any of those that miss it, we're selling both the regular cover and the metal cover. The metal cover, we always do very limited runs. So we actually only printed 50 of this run. So there's not that many left. There's only, 15 left. And we're doing it at an all-time low price of $50. And again, only for the next 24 hours. But again, talk to us about your inspirations for this. And luckily you had a full first volume to kind of read and get into the story and your thoughts about the Maniac of New York.
Oh, I just love it. I thought it was great. The only thing I regret about that cover was after I colored it, I handed it in, and then I saw it with the trade dressing, and I was like, it said the Bronx is burning, and I've got this like cold winter sky. I probably should have shown like fire in the background, but I know there had been some covers with fire, and I was like, okay, someone's got fire covered already, so we're good. But so for that one, I just really wanted to draw that maniac. I wanted to get like a really strong pose, looking up, and then when I think of being in New York, the 5 or 6 times I've been to New York, like even growing up in Toronto in a big city, when you go to New York, it's like it's a whole other stratospheric expand.
Such a different beast, yeah.
So it was just an incredible thing to do. So I want to try to capture that size and scale. You're looking up at this, this behemoth of a murderer, but then behind him is the behemoth of the city. And I should have put it on fire, but it's okay. I was still happy with how it came out because I really wanted those snowflakes and stuff to look cool. And
I'm about to tell you something. I'm surprised you didn't know. So a lot of the fans and a lot of people who love this cover don't think it's snowflakes. They think it's ash.
Oh, fair enough.
Because the red background, and so it kind of works in both ways. So I love
reading dangerously, even when they're just looking at artwork. I love it.
I love it.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
And bringing back F8 photos, Fear of Snakes. And I love the fact that you were actually on, you joined in on the happy hour where we were interviewing Garth Ennis about and talked about Lion and the Eagle. But now we have Lion and the Eagle, the number one happy hour exclusive that you did for this beautiful prestige format mini series from Garth Ennis, which might be his best and most intense war story. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this, and because it was great having you on the chat and like we could like talk
Oh
to Garth
yeah,
about
yeah.
it, and he
Well,
absolutely loves this cover. So tell us a little
oh,
bit more about this cover.
so I'm such a huge fan of his that it was
Yeah,
impossible.
he's all right.
It was impossible to resist jumping in on that conversation. But yeah, I've been a fan of his for a very long time, and the chance to do I got to do a couple of Jimmy's Bastard cover years ago. So that was, any chance I get to kind of work with in the sphere of Garth Ennis is just an awesome thing. So yeah, for this one, I didn't really have a lot of ideas at first. I got the script again. I think it was in black and white, and I'd seen a couple of the covers, I think, but I didn't have much. Can't remember how much of the story I had, but I love that era. I love that stuff. And PJ doing the art duties on that, like the guy is unbelievable. I've been a big fan of his for a long time too, so it's just a perfect combo. And for that one, yeah, I actually got a note back from one of the editors I'm working with that had a note from Garth that just said, yeah, maybe just draw like Mr. Singh's hand like holding the cobra, and make sure you draw. I should probably attach the reference photo. That would be really funny. But I took a reference photo of me holding this kind of. I have this bendable ruler drawing tool, and I had wrapped it with a bandana so I could get the right grip, like the thickness of a snake. And then I have a wristband that I put on that was similar to one of those Sikh wristbands. And so I was able to actually get a decent reference photo of gripping a fake snake, and then just spend a little while like researching my snakes. I used to actually have snakes, so it was kind of cool to draw snakes again. It's weird. When I was a younger man, I had strange ideas, and I had snakes. I had a couple of big snakes, and I used to do it mainly to freak people out. Like I'd put the boa around my neck, and I'd answer the door when the landlord was coming to collect the rent, stuff like that, just to like.
Jehovah's Witnesses to be like ants.
Whatever, yeah. Whoever came to the door, there was a snake around my neck, and I'm like this young, brawny, bare-chested man with a snake around my shoulders, like a pro wrestler. Those were the days. But anyway,
those were the days. Good times, scaring people come to our door. I love it.
But then something weird happened. I eventually didn't have snakes. And I don't really like. I'm mesmerized by them, and I think they're wonderful. But I'd never want to have one as a pet again. I think when I was young and wild and crazy, there was something about snake feeding time that became a bit of it felt a bit like Roman indulgence, in ultra violence. It almost felt like gladiatorial combat. And I stopped looking at it like I'm trying to provide this animal with food, and it became something else. And I had to get away from it because it was strange. But anyway, for a time I had snakes. So it was really fun to draw snakes. It was fun to draw this cobra in particular. I love cobras. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, I'm not sure why I went on that big snake story, but yes.
No, I'm on board for it. I have a weird obsession with snakes since I was a child. My first pet was a baby snake, a gardener snake that I just caught,
cool.
and appropriately named him Snakey because I was a child.
Nice.
But the best part was he got loose in our house, and that was the last I saw of him. But I appreciate that it scared the shit out of my sister the entire time. Danny Harrell also says, I used to have snakes too. They lived in our barn and kept eating the goddamned eggs. I love it.
Yeah.
So to bring everybody back to this sale, so we are going through everything that we have. The exclusive that is specific for this week is the Bunny Mask, the Hollow Inside #1 Happy Hour variant, and we are doing it at the crazy low price of $10. And like as we were shown, I'm still so angry I didn't see is there sickness until you pointed out. Now I feel like an asshole, but
No,
it is
it's
what
all
it is.
good.
And everything that we're mentioning, by the way, is cut to a very, very low price and is only available for the next 24 hours. Like you can't buy it anywhere else at any other time other than the next 24 hours. So if you want these things, the most expensive thing is, and we'll get to it, is the We Live #1 Happy Hour exclusive CBCS 9.8 graded book for $100. And then after that, so the metal covers, we usually only sell for $75 anywhere. we're doing the Bronx is Burning happy hour special by this incredible artist right here for only $50. But again, only for the next 24 hours. And everything else is only $10. So it's kind of dumb if you don't buy it right now. So continuing on, I love that you're staying on so that we can like really
Oh,
talk
this
through
is
all these
fun.
covers
Yeah,
because
this
this
is
is
good.
so good.
I wanted to say too, sorry, I don't want to cut you off or anything, but I love
No.
the larger format of the Lion and Eagle book as well, and the Dark Red book. The larger format, prestige size books, when you just hold one in your hands, it's just like, oh my God, what an impressive thing it is. Like so beautifully printed, and the perfect bound, assembly of it all. Like it's just, I just wanted to say, I just think they're gorgeous books. Like if, when you get one of those show up in the mail as one of my comps, I'm like, this is just beautiful. I can't believe this is the cover of this. So yeah, it was
Thank
pretty
you.
fun.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
absolutely agree because there is some pushback because of like where to put it, but like it's magazine size, like, and it's
Yeah.
just what better way to consume this art form of comic books than have it in a larger, like especially these books like, Dark Red and Lion
Mhm.
the Eagle, that the artwork is just so captivating. Like obviously, just make it bigger.
Yeah,
Go
for
big or
sure.
go home. You know what I'm saying? All right, so now we're going to go into the We Live #1 happy hour exclusive CBCS 9.8. So this is the first of the first volume, #1. So again, you didn't get a chance to read this whole entire story.
No.
Did you hear the fact that like the first volume was actually supposed to be called We Die?
No, I didn't hear that. Wow.
Yeah, so it was actually originally supposed to be called We Die, and then in February of 2020, we had a conversation and being
Sure.
like
Fair.
maybe not because of what's happening right now. Like maybe we
Yeah.
should change it
Yeah.
up a little bit. And we stick with We Live. But so what was your inspiration by this of this? And then like
Well,
what were your
I mean,
thoughts on the title when you because like again you only got the first issue to read at that point
yeah.
versus like, and then we'll talk about like Age of the Palladians after, but like where were you at this point?
So for me, I just love monsters. I mean, I think the love of drawing really starts with monsters for me, and so to have a book that's just got these incredible looking creatures, something about the gorilla really attracted me with with this beautiful luminous moth wings out the back, and the lion, of course, with the cool eye stalk type things coming out of its mane. Yeah, I don't know, I thought everything was so wonderfully designed. It was hard to pick. That one I did a few sketches for and had to kind of had to leave it up to the team to pick which one they wanted, because there was so many things I could have done, but it really came down to me wanting to draw a monster fight, because that's usually what it, if I can direct any project towards making two monsters fight on the cover, that's what I'll do. So that's my goal. But yeah, that was, yeah.
So once I'm assuming you read the full first volume, correct?
I
It's
I'm not
okay.
sure that. Yeah, I'm not sure I did. Yeah,
All
I know
right.
I read the first issue, and then I think that might have been it until I got caught up again with doing the second volume. Yeah,
Oh, so you did, but you did read it through all of it by the
uh,
second volume. Oh,
I'm
you know
not
what?
sure I did. Yeah, I'm not sure.
How
I would
did
know
you
if I
did
did.
you
I
get
guess.
to the actual backstory of the big ape? Like,
Oh, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Shoot, that was like an issue like 4 or 5 or something. I can't
yeah,
remember.
somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Actually, I do remember now. Yeah, I
And
did.
Paul Dunn is also saying you need to. I mean, like you might know some people who can send you the first volume. I'm just
Yeah, well, you know
saying.
what it is? A lot of the time I'm reading it off my computer screen, and I don't know if there's just something about not reading it in my hands, but reading it off the screen. I don't consume it, and I don't quite remember it if I do. And then I'll go, oh, yeah, I read that whole thing. Of course I did. It's just a weird thing. Yeah, because I
It's
find
not
reading off the
weird,
screen exhausting. I find it like,
right?
especially because I'm usually only getting a chance to do it at night. But when I get to read and hold the comic in my hand, it's a whole other experience for sure. So,
You
but
know
yeah,
this
I know
the
that
Stan Lee quote about reading comics in your hand versus like on
yeah,
screen, right?
I know the one.
Yeah. Do you want to say it or should I say it?
You go ahead.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's more appropriate for me to say it. So Stan Lee had this great quote, and like, let's not forget that Stan Lee had one of the most like epic love stories with his wife, the love of his life. Like, if you haven't heard the story, look it up. It's gorgeous. So this is a man who respected women aggressively, but he said like, comic books are like breasts. Like, it's great to look at them on screen, but so much better to hold them.
That's it. That's it. I
And
knew what he
we
was talking about.
Yeah, we knew exactly. And we already talked about the We Live Age of Palladians #1 black and white cover with that beautiful backdrop. Can you hold up one more time the
Yeah,
sketch that you
sure.
did? Because I'm so excited that you actually had that.
Yeah, it's actually for sale up in my shop right now, but
Yeah.
it's a 20 by 15 illustration. And yeah, I just basically for this one, I think I did my pencils on the iPad and then I blew them up to the biggest size I could. And then I had them on kind of rough paper, and then I added like charcoal to the back of the rough sketch, and I laid it on top of this board, and then I overdrew the sketch to make an impression onto the board so I could see a light sketch. And then I went in with my ink and my brush, and I just knocked this thing. Probably took me about a day and a half or so to ink it, but probably about a day and a half to conceive of the artwork, and then probably another day and a half to color it. So, because it was like doing two covers at the same time, so it was about a week's work. Yeah, it was good though. It was good fun. I love the characters; they're brilliant.
All right, so first I'm going to read Paul Dunn's comment on YouTube. It says you need to read it with a soundtrack. So I absolutely agree. So if you guys
Oh,
haven't read
right.
any of We Live, every single issue, there is a QR code that has that
Oh
when you
wow.
go to it, it has original artwork. Original music that is done specifically for each issue, produced by the Miranda brothers with this animatic that's gorgeous. So it puts you in the mood. You just scan it and then and just start reading because it goes along with it.
That
It's
sounds awesome.
so good.
That sounds awesome.
Um, but yeah, yeah, all this work is just incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad you got to hang out with us and talk to us one more
Oh,
time and go through all of these incredible covers. And again, guys, this is only available for the next 24 hours.
mhm.
Everything is only $10 versus the Maniac from New York, Bronx is Burning happy hour exclusive in metal, and we're only doing it for $50. And I don't know if you guys understand how valuable it is because there's only 50 in print ever. That's it. That's all that's going to be printed. Like there's not that many available, so that is crazy price. And even more exclusive is the We Live #1 Happy Hour exclusive that he did of the first volume, which
Yeah.
is CBCS 9.8 graded. We only have 5 available for $100. So
I
make sure.
recall. Sorry, that one sold out like right away. If I recall right, like before the show was over, it sold out like
Yeah,
really
it
quick.
sold out before. I think like that was, yeah, that was
5 minutes,
in
bananas.
5 minutes.
Wow,
So get on it. I'm just saying.
very
Um,
cool.
Mike, thank you so much for
Oh,
joining. One more time, where can everybody follow you on the Instagrams and the social meets?
all right. Well, you can find me on Facebook under my own name, Mike Rooth. Look for a caricature of me by the great Troy Little of Prince Edward Island, Canada. And you can find me as on Instagram and Twitter at Uncouth Ruth. And I try to post as often as I can, but lately it's been a little bit dodgy. Been really busy, and working for AfterShock and other people right now. So it's been a busy time. But yeah, I'll probably be posting stuff this weekend. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what to say. I'm so
All I
happy to
gotta,
be here today. It was a great
oh,
time.
so much fun. And I have to agree with Dwight Sudin, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, from Facebook says, oh my God, so amazing. Your love for this genre truly shows in your marvelous work. Wow,
Oh,
I'm so amazed.
geez. Thank
Absolutely agreed.
thank you, Dwight. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. That's
Yes.
awesome.
And everybody, like, we're going to keep doing these happy hours. Our next one is going to be June 9th. So make sure that you follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that fun stuff. But Mike, such a pleasure. I
Oh,
want to play D&D with you soon. Let's make that happen.
sure,
You're
sure.
incredible.
The
And
pleasure's all mine, RuthAnn. I really appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I can't wait till next time. It'll be fun.
yes, and thank you
Yeah.
all for joining. We will see you next time.
Be good, everyone.